Hey, what's up? It's Casey. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that some of the most genuine people you barely see them online, right? Maybe they're incredible parents or friends, they show up when it actually matters. Then there are people everywhere online who, if you knew them in real life, aren't who they appear to be at all. And it just made me think about like something we're all living inside of right now, which is like perception is truth, but it isn't truth. But it still decides how the world values you. What's wild is that perception doesn't become truth because it's accurate. It only becomes truth because it's like repeated, right? And social media has made that like 10 times more powerful. We judge people based on what we see, how often we see it, right? We find common trends, common things in them, and then that becomes the through theme. Repetition creates belief, even when it's false. Like if you see a certain number of videos all stemming from the same thing over and over and over again, that's the perception of who that person is. But there's so much depth to us as humans. Everybody in this world, as we have seen it, is basically two-dimensional. What the perception you have out in the world is how you are seen, right? Even if it's, as I said, not true, right? Some of the most successful people I know, they have an outward success, but then when you talk to them, they're struggling with money. They can barely pay their rent, struggle with parenting, just like you or I. They struggle with medical issues their parents or them, or God forbid, their children are dealing with. We all have this commonality, this through theme of humanity, right? The trouble is, like, incredible humans living invisible lives. They're not living invisible lives. They're living enriched lives, just unseen. They're loving parents, loyal friends, and steady contributors. They're people who matter deeply, but they don't trend because they don't care about trending. Value that doesn't translate into likes or followers is okay, right? But that's the thing. You value people when it translates to like or followers. And this is the part that always gets me. They have value that doesn't translate into likes and followers, which leads me to this part where, this also gets me, is that there's a cost of always being seen. Where you have your phone and you're filming instead of living, right? I mean, how many of us do that, right? We're capturing these moments, but we're not living in the moment. And it happens all the time. And thinking about optics instead of presence, you're missing it, and you're turning moments into content, right? You see, there's a difference between documenting your life and replacing it. And I've seen this so many times where people that are chasing the likes and chasing the follower count, they always have this out, and they're always thinking, and they're sort of always distracted. That's the thing. It's like they have this OCD mind that becomes completely consumed with other things, and that other thing is removing the ability to just be in the moment and present. And it is killing us as humans. It is killing our brain cells. It's killing our interaction. It's siloing everybody out of existence with each other. And when you get distracted with making content, you start looking at your life as a movie, and there's some cool things about that, but at the same time, you try to recreate moments, right? You're like, oh, let's go. Hey, what's up, guys? We're at the beach, and oh wait, we gotta do that again. Hey, what's up, guys? We're at the beach. Oh no, my hair's not right. Let me go over here. Hey guys, we're at the beach, and you're just missing the sunset. The sunset's like dropping while you're like, hey guys, we're at the beach, and we're just doing that. And you just missed this beautiful moment that potentially you can't gain back because you were so out of focus, so out of alignment with perceiving the world around you, These moments, these content moments have to come quick. They have to come with less perfection. They have to come with more authenticity, like an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, be here in the world with your community and your people and connected to the world. 20% of the time, let them see you. Let that world translate here, but let it translate here authentically, okay? This idea actually connects to something really personal for me. So I don't know if you know, but I'm an adoptive dad. And recently we launched a podcast called Urban Family. It's all about adoption. It's mixed families. We talk about identity, love, real stories that don't fit neatly into like the algorithm, And we're pitching it right now actively. We're actively looking for a home or network that believes in these stories. If we don't find one, we'll build it ourselves. That's the plan, is to just like launch it if we don't. And we feel like it's a really important time right now where the world feels very divided. I think we felt even more divided now than we ever have. There is fighting in the streets. There's blood in the streets, and there is not enough compassion and love. And we feel like the story that we have here with our podcast show, our audio podcast show, which the intention of this is that it's a podcast show, that the goal is to have this turn into a TV show. But we already did, we made up the pilot of the TV show into a first season of a podcast. And our beautiful array of actors brought life to these characters. And we have our amazing sound engineer who brought life to the project. And so we have it launched. It's ready to go. I'll send you the link here under this video. But what we're looking for right now is a home for it in the podcast community. It's a family-driven fiction drama that touches on adoption, and it centers around a group of families that are all intertwined from us inside a support group where some are adoptive parents and or some are adopted, and it bridges all sorts of conversations around what is traditional family versus non-traditional, and just all these wonderful stories that we have that are first off in the show itself, but plan on adding to the show as well as we grow it. We're trying to find a home for it in a podcast network. We feel like it's just like the right time because of how needed love is, like how needed it is to have connection with other humans. So that's what the goal is with this podcast, and then of course to turn it into a show. If you have anybody that you know, like a family podcast network that you know, let them know, tell them that our show is here. If this resonates with you, or you've lived something similar to the show once you listen to it, because I have the first episode there, let us tell us about it. Like send me a comment through YouTube or a DM, and I'd love to talk to you about it. As I mentioned, right, there's external perception and then internal fulfillment. And if you are always focused on external perception, you don't have that fulfillment. The people that bring it are family, close friends, the people who truly know you. And that's what actually matters when all the noise fades. Who gets to define your value when everything goes quiet? Nobody. And that's just why I wanted to talk about this topic, that there are so many things that you don't know about your neighbor, so many things you don't know about the person that you don't witness online, right? Like, I mean, again, it's like we all, there's an unfortunate piece of this where it's like online perception is value, but it's the antithesis of that, right? It's when you start to, you think that when you start to look at a humans transactionally, then we've lost humanity. And that's what I think has been happening. People have been looking at people transactionally. They see, oh, they have this success, so therefore, what can they do for me, right? That's what's lost. That's what's absolutely lost. And that's what this world is a part of. If I don't see value in my exchange with you, for me, right? If I selfishly don't get something out of it, I'm not going to focus on you. That's what humanity has turned into. I frankly am sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of thinking that somebody doesn't have value when they do. If, like, as an example, like if you take time to reach out to somebody to connect with them and they don't reach back out, but to me, that, like, when someone reaches out to me, personally, I always respond. And it's because of courtesy, it's because of connection, it's because of, I know that they are actually real people doing real things, but some people don't. Some people look at, what can you do for me? And that's where the struggle is. That's where the problem is. Even if they believe that, oh no, I'm focused on my bubble, my community, my people, but they're not. Oftentimes they're focused on this, but they're also only opening the door to transaction, and that's a problem. That still doesn't bridge communication. That creates siloed humanity, creates siloed elements, right? You're only focused on your family. You're not looking at what's happening with the outside world. This is siloed, right? Instead of opening it up, creating a bigger, wider perception. I mean, this is what I've been able to do with, being an adoptive parent, and traveling the world and going through that process of the adoption process. Almost, that was like 10 years ago, and it was probably one of the most challenging things I had ever gone through. But it created a perception that I've kept, and I'm grateful for. And then that perception, when I see what's happening online, or I see some vapid, vacuous, just no depth, sort of topic, it just makes me think of that most humans can't put themselves in other people's shoes because they haven't had enough perception. They have not gone out to the world, met people different than them, connected with people different than them. And I think that's what's broken right now. There's this bro mentality where, it's like, no, you don't need empathy. you don't need it because you're pumping iron and you're looking good and you're swole. But like empathy, I'm just going to put it out there. Empathy is masculine. And for idiots that think that empathy is not masculine, they're idiots. They're basically mindless, soul-sucking idiots. Empathy is what truly defines you as a human. If you're a man, if you're a young man in their 20s, you know, and 30s, and maybe you're a teenager and you're looking at getting out into the world, and you see a bro mentality of like take up space and don't give a shit about anybody else, that's going to not serve you in the world. That's going to prevent you from so much love and abundance. And to be honest with you, it's more masculine to have empathy for your neighbor. It's more masculine to protect people than it is to knock them down. I feel is really necessary that we honor people and we honor what they can bring. And perception is, you know, and not having a perspective of the world, and only having your narrow scope, and also only showing, you know, one layer of yourself. You're doing a disservice to yourself and to the world. And for those of you who are doing that and putting content out there like that and not thinking about your neighbor, not thinking about love, you know, this is fundamentally how we lose humanity and civilization and society. Anyway, that's it. It's my rant. I want to give you guys much love, and I hope that you will find your perspective out into the world. You will be able to connect with humans, and always keep a little bit of that open so that you can, so others can come and you can be open to receive other people, you know, instead of just siloing yourself and closing your bubble when, you know, and just keeping in this microcosm of perception. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. If you like this video, I know it was crazy and heady, but feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.